And good afternoon, folks, and welcome to this Friday edition of FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Troy Fields.
And I'm student meteorologist Braden Robinson here with you this evening, giving you a quick Seminole game day forecast for tomorrow up in Boston College. Looking at a temperature of 71 degrees at kickoff at 3:30 p.m. Hopefully it'll be a pretty good game, but let's bring it back to Tallahassee. Troy, our weather is looking gorgeous over the next couple days.
Exactly, especially today. It was so beautiful. I was just out earlier playing Ultimate Frisbee with a couple of my friends, and it was just really refreshing just to be out in this beautiful, terrific, the humidity, though, this is really what made a difference, hasn't it?
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. And a lot of drier air, not as humid outside, a lot more comfortable. Temperatures are going down. We're getting closer and closer to fall, and we're getting closer and closer to those fall temperatures at the same time.
Yes, and of course, earlier in the week we did have a little bit of unsettled weather. That was due to the cold front that was kind of lingering and stalled in our area, not really wanting to move.
Yeah, definitely some stubborn weather in the beginning of the week. There was a lot of rain, definitely a lot of moisture in the air. It was a little uncomfortable, not great time to make outdoor plans, but this weekend is going to be absolutely beautiful.
Yes, and, if you don't have you're not busy too weekend, it wouldn't be a bad idea to, have a barbecue, barbecue some chicken, some French fries, well, not French fries, can't really barbecue French fries, but barbecue hamburgers, or just go out and barbecue.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely going to be a good day. We will go ahead and send it out to you to give us a quick overview of our weather. What's going on, Troy?
All right, we're going to give you a quick 1-minute update, folks, and, just as we already mentioned, at the best, very, very comfortable weather over the weekend, due to the patches of the cold front that will be moving in over the next couple of days, and so just awesome weather, and fall will be here to stay, but we will take a look at your national outlook later on in the show just to give you an idea of what the weather is going to be over the coming days. As we truck along towards your national satellite radar, must-eastern section is very, very quiet right now, and as you zoom in a little bit further across the Tallahassee region, lots and lots of dry air right now, gorgeous weather so to speak of, so not a bad way to start your weekend, folks. And looking ahead at tonight's forecast, 62 degrees, so very, very cool, crisp, and dry. So a fall-like evening is in store for us, so it's not a bad way to go. And, as I already mentioned, go barbecue, or just take a walk with your significant other, or just go to Atlantis Green and just play frisbee like I did earlier, or just play some soccer. Doesn't sound like a good idea, Braden?
Absolutely. It's going to be a great weekend to do all of that stuff. We'll switch gears a little bit and head into the plains, where while our weather's looking really good, maybe a different story out in the plains.
Yes, and we do have another cold front associated with a low pressure system that will be making its way through the region, and that could give folks in the Midwest a little bit of not severe weather, but a little bit of strong thunderstorms.
Yeah,
like that.
Absolutely. Our weather, or our thunderstorms, really won't come back until Thursday. However, that cold front is going to start moving through the plains midweek with that cold front, and cities affected might include Minneapolis, Chicago, St. Louis, out in Oklahoma City. So definitely a lot of areas affected out in the middle of the United States. So you want to make sure if you're out there, just to use caution, make sure you're keeping up with your NOAA weather radio, making sure you are weather aware that week.
Yes, but in the meantime, we're going to toss out to your local with Casey. And Casey, what did you do on this gorgeous weather today?
Well, it was a beautiful day. I just went around campus on this great day. In the last 24 hours, we seen temperatures last night upper 70s, but we seen a big cool down in our temperatures, mid to lower 60s this morning, and that's really ushering in some of those cooler temperatures across the Big Bend region based on the cool front that moved through yesterday. 84 degrees, partly cloudy. Your dew point 52 degrees. Humidity very low. It's just a great, calm, nice day, nice evening around the area, and it's going to stay nice in your forecast, which we'll see here in a few minutes. Now, temperature to other areas, 81 degrees in Quincy, up to our northwest, up in Bainbridge, 84 degrees. Temperature a little bit warmer out to the west in some of our western areas. We're sitting at 85 degrees in Wilma, and also temperature, actually, let's go ahead and take a look at the dew points. We see 52 degrees Tallahassee, but this kind of tells the story in that we are seeing these a little bit lower than what they had been over the last couple of days. We're getting drier, cooler air moving into the forecast. Now, this false returns on the radar so not too big of a deal in terms of that. But now satellite and radar across our southeast, not too much going on. Just a great, nice, beautiful weather situation, high pressure in control over the southeast. Now we are seeing some rain down toward areas like Orlando, but that's not going to affect us. A little bit of a little nor'easter action, but again, not impacting our weather. Water vapor really tells the story. We see dry air on this map. This shows the moisture content in the upper levels of the atmosphere, not too much in terms of that in the Tallahassee area. But now dry air really telling the story across our region. We'll monitor that very closely. Now we will see a cool front try to creep across into Arkansas and Texas, and that we'll keep our eyes on that. Could be some severe weather there, but not expecting that to impact our weather at least over the next couple of days, but we could see rain from that as we get into next week. Now in terms of that beach forecast, we see that UV index is 7 still, even though it's getting cooler. Make sure you take that sunscreen in the high range. Now in terms of the boating forecast, days are getting a little bit shorter. 7:26 is that sunset on your Saturday. Now tonight, 62 degrees. It's going to be a cool and drier evening, a nice, beautiful evening across our Big Bend region. And tomorrow, a great day to go outside. Abundant sunshine, winds a little bit gusty, upwards of 10 to 15 miles per hour. But in that 7-day forecast, we see temperatures in the low to mid 80s in terms of those highs, with those rain chances creeping up as that cool front gets through. But right now, let's go ahead and take a look at the southeast's weather with Pete.
Hey, thank you very much, Casey. And I love the story you're telling of all of that dry air beginning to filter its way into our area. Now let's take a look at the southeast. You can see exactly what I have going on for you here. Cool air moving down the spine of the Appalachians is beginning to funnel on the backside of a low pressure. So we only had a high of 81 in Savannah and 79 in Wilmington. So not even into the mid 80s for your temperatures across the southeast. All of the heat is confined to the western portion, with Shreveport and Little Rock touching almost 90 degrees. Currently in our area, 84 in Tallahassee, 78 in Atlanta, 77 in Savannah, and look at that, a rain cool 79 in Orlando. They're getting a few showers on the backside of that low pressure center. Dew points here measure the moisture content at the surface, and you see what 52, 54, that's actually the temperature at which dew would form. It's also a good indicator of the overnight lows. Now, I'm not saying we're going to get all the way down to 52, but it does give us leeway to feel those fall-like morning temperatures that you may have woke up to this past morning. Off the water vapor shows mid to upper level dry air, and anywhere you see orange into this dark brown blue area here, that is dry air, and that's continuing around the backside of the low pressure center to keep us dry at the mid levels. All this means for you is clear skies. From Atlanta westward to Tupelo, southward to Montgomery, and back towards Tallahassee, rain-free, almost cloud-free across the southeast today. And it's all a culprit here. The dry air behind the front is just remaining in control over the southeast. We're in between two frontal systems, so we should remain clear for the weekend. And the next front is actually going to approach coming into Monday into Tuesday, where moisture will increase, but by no means does it look like a washout at this point. But of course, we'll keep you updated at 4FSU. Now, for the rest of the forecast tonight, overnight, let's call it 62 in Tallahassee, 59 in Atlanta. So anywhere you see greens, those 50s begin to nose their way southward, keep us on that cool side. Also moving ahead to our tomorrow's forecast is 78 for our high in Atlanta, 86 for Tallahassee, and you see all of this plentiful sunshine all across the southeast. Looks like a beautiful 5-star forecast to start your weekend. But for more, we're going to send it back to the desk with Troy and Braden.
All right, thank you, Pete. And it is that time of the show again, this day in weather history. We're going to bring you back to 1816 when a black frost over New England froze a lot of the corn, unripened corn in the area, causes a year of famine up in New England.
And for those of you wondering what exactly black frost is basically is that when the air gets so cold in the atmosphere that can cause great damage to all the vegetation and plants.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not sure about an exact temperature of where, like, a roundabout area was, but you have to think of how cold it is, because it means the core of that vegetation is freezing, causing those plants to turn black. Some really cold weather.
Yes, but another date in weather history goes back to 1985, so not quite as long ago as 1816, but we had an early season snowstorm that hit the plains. And guess how many inches?
How many inches, Troy?
19 inches.
19 inches.
Holy moly.
That is a lot, absolutely. And you see these cool temperatures. Obviously, we're not getting them right now. It's not that cold. We've already had our first snow of the season. But other than that, we're looking at some pretty nice temperatures. Not as cold as this year in weather history.
And of course, the plains, they're gonna get see a new system, which Alex will talk about international. Alex, how are things looking across the United States?
The United States is looking nice and warm on the east side, and on the west side we're starting to see rainfall and a lot more snow building off towards the northwest. And we're going to see those temperatures that you see right now in Seattle and Billings, Montana, drop over the next few days, and that's going to be relative. That's going to illustrate that cold front. You can clearly see this cold front, this line, this very thin line of yellow. That's pointing to this gradient that we have of temperature, or the change in temperature with distance, and you can see it's very noticeable indeed across the western United States. Looking now at satellite radar, you can see a lot of rainfall and some snow associated with this low pressure system and this cold front that's going to drench that part of the area. Water vapor showing the same thing. The whites and the greens represent the moisture, and the browns represent all the dry air, and it's feeding into the entire peninsula, basically, also into other southeastern states like Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. Feeling really nice, I should say, for the next coming week. Doppler radar not showing much in the way of any rainfall for us. A few sprinkles here and there, all the way down from possibly Jacksonville to Cocoa Beach, receiving a bit of rainfall, but nothing in the way of anything on the magnitude that we have seen before. Now onto our futurecast, we have a lot in store. First, dry air building over the southeast, and that's going to remain the story for the next few days, as this cold front that I've been pointing out is now going to start trekking towards our neck of the woods. With this high pressure slowly starting to dominate them and dry air slowly starting to dominate us, the nation is clearly split in half, as you can see, on what the weather is going to be. And as that cold front begins to push off, we will have yet another cold front enter our area. So it's that time of the year when we see nothing but cold fronts and a lot more rainfall, but a lot more drier air after the cold fronts. Airport delays, not much in the way of anything. That's nice to see. And going on to tonight's forecast, I should say, we're going to see much of the same thing across much of the area. You could see 77 degrees in Miami, 62 degrees in Tallahassee, possibly even lower for tomorrow night's low as well. We might even see upper 50s. For tomorrow's forecast, nice warm temperatures for the east. Once again, cooler temperatures for the west with all the rainfall impacting them. But some sunny conditions for the northeast as well. Now, let's take it on now to Ryan, and you're going to show us a little more about our local neck of the woods, right?
Yeah, how about these high temperatures today? In the low to mid 80s, a nice change from what we've been dealing with over the past several weeks, finally getting a little taste of fall. Mother Nature's harvesting up some change. Well, we'll get into that. 84 today in Tallahassee, 81 barely getting out of the 70s in Thomasville, and that was the case for most of us here today. 84 at this hour, still in Tallahassee at the airport. Hey, look at this dew point, 52 degrees. It's a good indication of where we'll be heading towards tonight as far as our temperatures are concerned, but it just goes to show you how much dry air we have in place working its way in from the north. Currently outside, broader view of the region, 79 already in Thomasville, dipping down into the 70s. As the sun goes down, these temperatures are going to fall even more in the evening. 80 degrees in Monticello, 83 in St. Mark's, 85 in Marianna at this hour. We've got winds out of the north. They've been pretty breezy all day. In fact, we had a couple gusts this afternoon in Tallahassee, up to 14 miles per hour. So it's been pretty breezy, and it made things feel even better with those cooler, drier conditions across much of the Big Bend area. Currently still out of the north at 12 miles per hour, 8 miles per hour in Bainbridge. Well, these aren't going to die down all that much through the evening. We're going to stay pretty breezy and pick things up again tomorrow during the day. The good news is we don't have any rain to speak of on the radar, and that's going to persist over the next couple days with this dry pattern in place. A broader view of things, the entire southeast looking pretty cloud-free. Brilliant sunshine for the weekend, and that's good news, right? Well, here's drier air for you. All this orange color just going to show you, proving the case here that we have all this dry air in place. And what do you know? Dry air on this map too. Dry air across the southeast. We've got that front that pushed through the past couple days, a few days ago rather, and dry air filtering in from the north. It's going to be brilliant sunshine tomorrow. We're going to be seeing those golden sunny skies that you see as fall begins to make its transition. As we work into Sunday, late weekend, early week, we could see a few more clouds beginning to filter into the forecast. That is on the horizon, but the weekend is shaping up to be quite nice for sure. Good news is staying dry and warm over the next couple days, but cooler nonetheless. Tonight's forecast, maybe you're headed out to some prep football games, 62 degrees. We've got Mariana taking on Childs at 6 o'clock. Going to be an excellent evening for the Friday Night Lights, as well as Wakulla playing at Godby. So a great night, fantastic storybook Friday Night Lights. Cooler and drier. Pack the jacket though, because by the end of game time, temperatures could be heading down into the low 70s as we approach those 60s. 84 tomorrow, brilliant sunshine again. It's going to be feeling a lot like fall. A great day to get outside, maybe get a few pumpkins, get a few decorations as we head into October. Kicking off October nice, feeling like fall. Temperatures in the mid 80s for the rest of the weekend. Low 60s. We could even see some upper 50s on Saturday night. Back to you guys at the desk.
Well, thank you, Ryan. 50s is definitely something I'm looking for. Mother Nature is serving up a fantastic beginning of September. What do you think, Alex?
Yes, I'm hoping we can see some 50s, hopefully some 40s, but that's hoping too much on my hands, I should say, because 40s might not happen, seeing the warm weather, right?
For me, 40s is just a little bit cold. We'll see when we get there, but what's going on around the world? Well, there's big trouble in India with the monsoon.
Yes, monsoonal flooding in India has now killed 13 people. It's caused quite a lot of havoc there, and about 12 to 17,000 people displaced, now finally moving into their homes. So hopefully it's a nice reprieve from the weather, because the monsoonal floods can be quite devastating for that area.
Yes, and the term monsoon is actually associated with the wind shift, and with that wind shift, it brings in the moisture and it begins to rain. Well, let's see where there else is there rain right around Florida with Jake.
Now there's not a lot going on in terms of rainfall, but as we've been seeing all throughout the show, fall has definitely arrived. I mean, up here we've got 84 in Tallahassee, 75 over there in Jacksonville. Down here we see 79 in Orlando. That's because we've seen a little bit of clouds developing off of a front in that area. But down here, 85 in Tampa, 85 in Fort Myers, and a little bit warmer, 89 down there in Miami. So things are still pretty warm, but obviously fall is making its move into the area. And this is one of the reasons we felt so comfortable around here over the past day or so, is this dry air really just moving into the region, and just all the brown you see over here is just, it's all dry air. So it's really just dominant over the region and keeping things very comfortable, very fall-like and seasonable, enjoyable, I think. But in terms of radar, we don't have a lot going on in terms of Florida for precipitation, except we have a few showers popping up here. And once again, this is the indicator of those clouds I mentioned a little bit earlier. And we zoom in here, we can see just a few pop-ups coming off the coast, moving down due to some winds that I'm going to show you in just a second. But like I said, not a lot going on in terms of precipitation around Florida. So pretty calm day. But right now, the winds are coming out of the northeast with, well, they're pretty breezy in here in Tallahassee. We have 12 miles per hour average right there, 13 in Jacksonville, down there in Orlando 9, and 10 in Tampa. So you definitely see why the showers are moving the way they were when you take a look at these wind values down there, 7 miles per hour in Fort Myers and 10 in Key West. Our futurecast, this is over the next few days, we're going to see this dry air really start to make a bit of a difference in our temperatures, certainly from what we've seen over the past few weeks with those upper 90 or low mid 90s, excuse me. But down there you see that front finally moved out. That cold front's way off the coast and not going to make too much of a difference in terms of our forecasting. But over the next few days, that dryer is going to really settle in, and don't let that confuse you. It's not going to be really bright. It's actually going to be more comfortable. I mean, warm, excuse me. It's going to be pretty comfortable, pretty fall-like. But over the next few days, we're going to see another low come in. It's going to be about a couple of days, but it will increase our chances for rainfall. Not a significant amount, but the chances will be going back up in the future. For your beach and boating, surface of 1 to 2 feet, water 65 degrees, and the UV index is at 7, so it's pretty high. For the boating, though, we're going to be seeing northeast winds of 10 to 15 knots with the waves about 2 feet. And take a look at that sunrise at 7:29 a.m. and 7:26 p.m. for your sunset. But for tonight's forecast, things are going to get pretty chilly. We see 62 over there in Tallahassee, 66 in Jacksonville, and you're going to obviously get warmer as you move on down, but things are once again getting almost closer to the 50s in several places. And for tomorrow's forecast, it's going to be a lot like today. We're going to see 86 over there in Tallahassee, 82 Jacksonville, 90 in Tampa, and 89 in Miami. But for now, we're going to take a look at the tropics with John.
Yeah, it is September, but the tropics aren't saying that right now. Across the Atlantic, it's been pretty dry, and this front that just came through yesterday isn't helping at all. This is a look at the best thing that I can show you right now. This is a cluster of thunderstorms well out in the central Atlantic. Here, just in the bottom part of your picture there, are the Lesser Antilles on the eastern side of the Caribbean. And this is a cluster of thunderstorms that is pushing off towards the north. And actually the center is right about in here. You can kind of see a little bit of a pinwheel there. All those clouds are shredded away from that center of circulation. No expectation of thunderstorm activity there. Here's another cluster of thunderstorms. This is associated with that front. If you follow this line all the way back down into the Caribbean, that follows the front, and this is all pushing down towards the south and towards the east, out into the Atlantic. No expectation of development there either. Across the Atlantic, here's that first area and the second area. And as we head into the month of October, you start seeing things clear out across the eastern parts of the Atlantic as the water temperatures begin to cool down just below that area where we can see some sort of tropical development. Again, here's another look at our September climatology. You see those storms coming out of the Atlantic and up into the northern Atlantic. And this is the time of year we see a lot of cooler water starting to build in towards the eastern parts of the Atlantic. And you start to see the development fade off towards the west and out of the Atlantic and into the Caribbean. We see storms that trek across the southern parts of Florida and up towards the east coast. This is where we start to see some of those nor'easters coming out of the Bahamas area and up towards the north and east. And that's when we see some of those nor'easters become hurricanes, but nothing like that now. Actually, the radar is pretty much clear across the entire southeast. Here's that front, that ribbon of moisture down there across South Florida and the Keys and into the Florida Straits. That's what's left of that front. And what's left behind that is a plentiful supply of dry air. Everything in brown here, this is dry air well above the surface up near where the planes fly. And this is all worked down towards the surface, and that's what's made it a lot more comfortable as we head into tonight. And it'll actually allow temperatures to drop tonight, because what clouds do is they blanket the surface and won't let any of that heat and humidity rise off the surface and up through the atmosphere and away and out to space. When there's nothing there, just some dry air, all that heat goes right up out into space and away from us. So tonight's forecast, we're looking at 50s around the area, especially in the northern parts of our area. 59 degrees in Dothan and Albany, 55 the cool spot in Macon. Still a couple of clouds down towards the south hanging on. 70s still forecast for central Florida and down into South Florida. They'll be still close to 75 for tonight in South Florida. As we head into tomorrow's forecast, we're looking warm, 86 degrees here in Tallahassee, 90s still holding on down in central and South Florida, low 80s across most of the southeast. I know that the tropics have been quite quiet this year. What do you guys think about that?
I honestly think that we still should possibly have maybe one major hurricane, but it doesn't look likely. The energy is low this year.
Energy is very low this year, and we have yet to formally have a major hurricane. Now, there was a typhoon in the western Pacific that had the amount of energy we have had in all of our storms. That's pretty incredible.
Yes, that's pretty incredible indeed. That usually doesn't happen for us, especially for the past couple of years when we've had 19 on average named storms, which is an above average season, especially with Sandy, which was a very big storm. We're not seeing anything like that.
No, in October we begin to move away from Africa and begin to focus in the Caribbean, Gulf of Mexico, where you can see those northerly moving hurricanes. We've known about Sandy and Irene. Those are the most famous ones, but we'll have to keep an eye out.
Yes, and like he said before, that's mainly warm because of the Gulf Stream waters that travel in that area, staying constantly warm throughout the year, which is probably why they're constantly forming and traveling in that area.
Exactly. Let's take another look locally with Braden.
Hey, thank you guys. Loving the ties, by the way. The bow ties looking very nice. Let's take a look at your temperature over the past 24 hours. I'm actually going to step out of the way real quick. You can see 82 degrees at 4 p.m. yesterday, dropping down to 65 this morning, getting a taste of fall. Those temperatures are going down up to the low 80s today, a high of 84 degrees today. So looking very nice over the last 24 hours with your roller coaster of temperatures. High of 84 degrees today, a little below average. Again, also with your low of 62 degrees, looking very nice over the Tallahassee region, pretty dry. Been talking about the past, let's bring it up to today. Right now, currently 82 degrees, partly cloudy in Tallahassee. Dew point's looking pretty low, meaning low humidity, very dry air outside. Much more comfortable than it has been over the last couple days, especially with the rain and the humid air. Temperatures around the region, looking at 82 in Tallahassee, 81 in Quincy, 84 up in Bainbridge. Coast staying the same as well, 83 in St. Mark's, and 84 down in Apalachicola. Going into your radar, nothing really concerning here, just a lot lot of false returns. It is very clear outside. Not many clouds in the sky. It's looking very nice. We'll go ahead and zoom out. Check out your southeast water vapor. The orange colors representing dry air. Very dry air just controlling our area right now after that cold front moved through over the last couple of days. And that's going to keep our rain chances down through about Wednesday. And you're going to see that on the southeast radar as well. I'll step over here. You can see just rain off the coast of east central Florida, but that dome of dry air has been keeping us dry and will keep us dry over the next couple days. And you see, again, this dry air just enveloping our region. We'll put this into motion, and this dry air is going to move out. We're going to stay sunny over the next couple days, especially into Saturday. And you see this cold front is going to start moving in Saturday into Sunday, going over the middle plains, the middle of the United States. Rainfall is coming not for your weekend, but for the middle of next week. Sunday at 8 p.m., the cold front will be in that general area. Looking at tonight's forecast, 62 degrees, cooler and drier. It's going to be an autumn evening. Winds out of the northeast at just about 5 miles an hour, so pretty calm wind, cooler than we've seen. And tomorrow, we will go to 84 degrees. Abundant sunshine, going to be breezy. Wind picking up a little bit. Northeast, 10 to 15 miles an hour. Direction's not going to change, but that intensity of the wind is definitely going to go up. Your 7-day forecast as I step out of the way. Looking at dry conditions through Sunday. Highs in the mid-80s all week. Lows in the low 60s. Check out that low temperature on Saturday. Maybe 58 degrees, getting into the 50s. Definitely a possibility. That taste of fall is here. Fall is on its way. It's been a beautiful, beautiful day. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful weekend. We'll send it back to the guys with ties to finish things up.
Guys with ties, I like that. And I'm talking about that taste of fall. I want the full helping because I've had a wet and hot summer this year.
Yes, the humidity was killing me back here and in my hometown around Fort Lauderdale, where it's constantly raining over there over the summer. So it's nice to see these 60s once again, which I haven't seen in about a few months. So
the story was the same in Tampa Bay this year, but things are now a-changing as fall is rolling in. With a few things coming up, we do have a special event in Tallahassee, and that is the Terror of Tallahassee is opening this week.
yes, its address is 826 Gain Street, and it's been famous in Tallahassee over the years for providing a lot of scares and a lot of entertainment for families and friends living around Leon County. Make sure to check it out. It's on October 4th, which is this Friday.
This coming Friday, right, and looks to be beautiful weather coming up for that event. 84 degrees. Well, I'll take it. What do you think?
Yeah, so maybe a slight chance of rain, but nothing in the way to really hinder anyone going, I'd say. Hopefully that approaching cold fronts doesn't slow any events down, because I'd like to see, look at that, only 30% chance of rain, and the temperature's still nice and seasonal.
Yeah, 30% chance of rain, can't beat that. 85 sounds good to me. It's probably the best forecast of the season. What do you say, Alex?
Yeah, the best forecast indeed, and it looks like that trend might continue into next Saturday when we have our next home game. So hopefully not a drencher like our previous home game, and hopefully nice and comfortable conditions persist.
Of course, if you like us, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, livestream.com all the time. For tonight, I'm Pete Delagrada.
And I'm Alex Cordero. Have a great weekend and stay safe.